We are reviewing Dead Rising 3. To kick things off, like I said, I've been a massive Dead Rising fan since Dead Rising 1. Like I said, I pretty much smashed all the achievements back in the day on the Xbox before I lost all my achievements, which is a pain in the backside. But yeah, I've been a massive fan of Dead Rising since 1, and that's since 2008. So again, I've played all the Dead Risings, including 2 with the Case West and Case Zero, I think it is, that came out on the 360. Which that's a different story, but it's a shame that's not on PC, so that's going to be for something else. Now for Dead Rising 3, to kick things off, I was very skeptical with this game when it came out. I mean, I remember the E3 when it came out for Xbox, it was Xbox exclusive. I think it was, yeah. I'm freeballing notes, so some might not. I might miss loads of stuff, etc. But it's easy for me to just to freeball and try and write down stuff. So yeah, I was very skeptical when it came out because I thought, oh, it looks cool, it looked promising. Like I said, it's a huge open world game. You know, like I said, you've got a city which changed from, you know, a little mall you've got, which I thought was big at the time. You know, like I said, you're in a big open city that is huge, and obviously you've got a mass carrying on with the combo system with new and wild wacky weapons, and obviously you got your reliables which have come out. And like I said, basically zombies have infinite respawns, and I can't remember the number they've said, but zombies are there's going to be a set amount of zombies per spawn, and they will never, so you've seen in a video that I've been doing for the series, they will never die, they'll always respawn. But yeah, it's got the bonkers weapons which they've cranked up even more, which, you know, I do enjoy it, but there is some stuff that's like, what the hell, but you know, it's creativity for the game. Like I said, there's some absolute weapons which are just from stupid to overkill, which my favourite is the grenade sledgehammer, which is my favourite out of 3. I think number 2 is the laser lightsaber, but 3's got to be my grenade sledgehammer. That's just takes everything out. And obviously there's a dildo launcher, which people don't realise it was in 2. I can't remember if it's in Dead Rising 2, but I know it's in Off the Record, which is Frank West's version of that. I know it's in there. I can't remember if it's in 2, the standard 2, but yeah, because I think I've seen someone post about it'll be hilarious if, I can't remember what game came out or some shit, and they're like, oh, it'll be hilarious if you can launch dildos. I'm like, Dead Rising 3 did this. But yeah, so that's, you know, that's what you can make, this kind of thing. But yeah, I was very skeptical when the game came out, because when I seen the trailer I was like, okay, cool, Dead Rising 3, this sounds good. And then I was like, will all the overkill bonkers weapon creation systems and that stuff ruin experience, basically? And I put off playing the game for a long time. I think I started playing like only a few years ago. I actually started playing free because it's on PC, it's on Steam, and you get the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC and that stuff. I think I paid like a $5 for it, it was on sale. I thought, yeah, sweet, I'll do it. And I regret not getting it sooner, because Dead Rising 3 it's my favourite. I hate to say it, I said, well, I love 1. 1's always been my favourite. I absolutely love 1, but 3 is my absolute favourite. I know there's people mixed, are like yay and nay, you know, it's one of them. I know obviously 4, yeah, I'll go into 4 when I start doing Dead Rising 4, but obviously I've got to, because it won the votes. I mean, this video's going to come out later anyway, but when obviously I did a poll, obviously, do I move to Dead Rising 4, did DLCs to 3, which I'll be doing that, which I'll probably have to start doing anyway, regardless of if Return to the review comes out, basically. But yeah, I'm glad I played it. I mean, like I said, it's gameplay wise, mechanic wise, it's a huge improvement. It's stepped up, like, oh my god. I mean, like I said, I'm doing this review now, and I've actually got Dead Rising Off the Record on PC. I finally got the pad to work, like an Xbox 360 pad. It works without the mod, and similar to Dead Rising 2 standard, I think I managed to get the control to work again vaguely with the Steam input. It's a bit skeptical here and there, but it's actually fixed. That's why I've stopped playing it, because it was just an absolute swine to move to 3. But again, they're for different videos. But like I said, compared to obviously 1, 2, and obviously Off the Record, it has improved a lot regarding how you know, weapon handling, ragdolling, creations, movement, and even the AI have improved, because like I said, I did 1, and the AI can be very dumb, especially when you try and save survivors, and it's a pain in my ass. Obviously, two was improvement, but 3 it's a hell of a lot better. And like I said, they will fight. You can heal them better, all that shit. So you can heal them without them dropping the weapons on that shit. Whereas 2 is like you have to drop the weapon, you have to give them back food and shit like that. It's a pain in the ass. But yeah, the AI had the survivors have improved. Like I said, I've done so long intervals per video. Like I regularly know the story, but it carries on from 2. Now I'm pretty sure when I've looked into the audio when I've done my clips, spoiler alert, like I said, it's a lot of lore, and I think it carries on. The 3 carries on from off the records, not off the records. I think it's case 0 where you can have Frank West is a playable character in the Dead Rising 2 DLCs. Not off the record, because I'm pretty sure off the record was supposed to be the original game, but obviously we all got excited for Frank West, for Chuck and myself, so that it kind of changed how the game looks. So yeah, off the record is meant to be what the main story is, but it's not. Dead Rising 2 official is the story, and the 2 DLCs they have with it, was it 3 DLCs? It's 2 or 3, I think. It's been a while, but yeah, the DLCs is lore, and it confirms it. The final video I did for the story, the General Hamlock, I think his name is. I'm terrible at names, like I said. He mentions, I'm pretty sure he mentions something about it in his thing, because obviously he mentions 1, obviously with the boss is obviously got Isabella Keys. A few main characters, like I said, Chuck Green's back in it, and he looks like a hairy biker. I think he's kind of badass, which I was so excited, the fact that Chuck Green's in it. Spoiler alert, but like I said, he's in it. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, so fucking, when I first saw it, so fucking happy. But the story has loads of plot twists, loads of unexpected shit, and like loads of oh my god shit, which you shit your pants kind of stuff. I'm sidetracking on 16 different things here, but yeah, so not off the records, Dead Rising 2 Patient Zero, I think it's after Dead Rising 2's story, where they go to a factory, that you learn a lot of lore about it, and then like I said, 3 confirms, I think, was it Chuck Green? I can't remember who mentions it. I'm sure it's either Chuck Green or someone else. There's mention of them going to this factory, which is in the DLC. So the story progresses, and like I said, Dead Rising 3 is a key factor for the story, because there is, I don't want to say there's a mega amount of stuff, but there's enough to validate what's been going on basically from the series. And again, there's a museum which opens and has a lot of lore about Dead Rising 1 and Dead Rising 2 and all the bits and bobs. And I said there's references throughout the game. I said you got Isabella Keys, you save her, and she's a bitch. Yeah, she's still a wanker, but yeah. So lore wise, play it for that. Like I said, there's a few scenes which it did shit me up a few times, especially the high school thing. It still gives me, it's not as bad, but gave me PTSD when I played it the first time. Then footballers are fucking, even when I'm level up to shit, they are terrifying when they kamikaze at you, and there's a load of them. It's like, oh my god. And because, like I said, because Dead Rising 3 has infinite zombie spawn, they'll keep spawning. You leave an area, even if you don't load everything else and come back, they will respawn. Yeah. So you feel you took them all out, and then if you look away, come back a little bit, they've all respawned with the other zombies, so you'll never escape them. So yeah, it's nuts. But yeah, for some reason, like I said, for gameplay wise, like I said, it's hit and miss. Sometimes it runs at 30, sometimes it runs at 60, but it's still pretty smooth at 30 FPS. I know people will moan, but it needs to play fucking 100 FPS with smooth, and I was like, shut up. If it runs smooth, it runs smooth. I'm sure it's a console port anyway, but you know, fuck off. But yeah, some new features you have with survivors is certain survivors that you do save, they can join your group. I didn't know that on my first playthrough. I think at the end of when I first played it, I think the second playthrough or some shit, I realised, oh my god, I think there's like 12 survivors that if you save, they will join your squad. They will join. So I think you can have 5. that are with you. I mean, they'll despawn, they'll don't spawn if you're in like a major story scene or some shit where you have to recapture them. But basically, what happens to the game is, you capture safe houses, you clear them up, and obviously that's where you can, any weapons and stuff like that you've upgraded, learnt and stuff like that, you can spawn them without having to build them, which is pretty good. So you can spawn them, and I mean, you can't max spawn, like you can only spawn a couple at a time because it has like a time bar. Same with the vehicles. The vehicles again, you can lock them and then combo them together. But again, you can't keep shitting them out. I mean, luckily with these, this whole DLC version, obviously I got around the city pretty pissed with the fucking minigun APC thing, which was the lifesaver for this game. I probably would struggle more if I didn't have that. That's why I might like speed run the fucking game, because I'm like, well, fucking sound. So yeah, but yeah, yes, the survivors that you do save, certain of them, they'll go to your safe house, you can spawn them, and they all have their own personal perks. Basically, some have higher damage, some have low damage but have higher health, and all that jazz. And then you can collect as well. Same with 1 and 2. I'm sure it's 2 as well. You can collect magazines, which obviously improve, but they're not inventory. So, and I say that I've got like 4 I've got in my inventory, which you can anytime you can change them around, select them, so you don't lose that, and they don't take up space, which is a saving grace. The leveling up system, like I said, the start of the game is absolute hell when you're a low level, because you got to fight for fucking everything. But once you start leveling up, you get the points and get the perks. You can learn certain areas. Obviously, you've got your health, you got your damage, you've got weapon upgrades, all that. It's a big list. That's yeah, it's worth. Like I said, I've done this story. I'm a second playthrough, but I'm not even hit level 50 yet, which I will be doing on my obviously on the DLC story missions, which I'll be doing. So, but yeah, it is possible to do the game. Like I said, it's a lot smoother to play. Like your character's a bit more responsive, and it just feels a bit more oomph on the realism kind of. It's a zombie game, but obviously it's a Japanese game, so there's obviously a bit of sexual shit. Like I think obviously the corniest one is the police cop, one with the giant tits with wearing like a little fucking skimpy top with a rocket launcher or some shit. I'm like, for fuck's sake. Of course it's Capcom. It's a bit risky, but no, there's loads. Obviously you can save random NPCs that are strapped by zombies. You get all of them, you get something. And like I said, I've not encountered every character, I've not encountered every boss, and I've not encountered some special scenes, because like I said, there's so much shit in this game. Ow, that hurt. But yeah, hit myself on the mic. But yeah, there's so much shit in this game that it's going to take me another run to properly look into, because I wanted to speed run the story. That's what I do. Unless I've got time to kill for the thing, that's what I do. It's like when you do with Dead Rising 1 and Dead Rising 2, you have to get the badasses and obviously get the survivors. So there's loads of like bits, but I know there's some irritating ones like for survivors where you have to fucking find a thing like a weapon or some shit and give them to them. I'm like, I can't be asked. It's a load of shit. But yeah, story wise, there's a lot of fucking plot twists in that game, which makes you go, oh my god. I mean, it's kind of good because it keeps you on the edge and you don't expect it. But yeah, a lot of characters are dickheads. Some are lovely, but some are dicks, and some are like, oh my god. So and like I said, when you play through the campaign, obviously there's four I don't know, no the story. Yeah, when you play for the game, there's certain bosses and scenes that you see and you complete. Obviously you take out a boss, or you do the certain thing for the challenge or whatever to get through the game. With the Undead Untold stories, which is the DLC, there's 4 mini DLC, which is a couple hours long, which is pretty good. I paid $5 for the game, got all the DLC, I've got all that stuff. It's full decent money. It's good. I'll quickly run. I can't remember the characters, but I know definitely 2 of them are bosses. 2 of them are villains that you play, which you in the main game you actually defeat. Whereas this the Untold stories, you are actually the one. You are a psychopath. It's one of the psycho bosses, and then you see the perspective like what leads up from start the outbreak to when you meet your protagonist. I can't remember his goddamn name now. The guy you play, Nick. There you go, Nick. So for that, and then you can meet the character, which is pretty. It adds more depth. Like, okay, you've got your bike. I know your biker, and you've got an army sergeant, which it adds a bit more impact. Like, oh my god, I mean, to be fair, the sergeant, the army officer, I feel bad. I've had a lot. I mean, you take him out in the main story, but when you're him, it's like, oh my god, because if I vaguely remember, obviously, you get shot down, you and your squad, and you got to find your rest of your crew, and it's, I think, 2 survive, 3 survive, and the rest they get murdered. But parts of the game, like I said, make sense to why shit looks like this. There's a helicopter crash in the middle of the road. It's because of him. He got shot down. The bikers, there's a scene for the bikers, seeing what shit's there. There's that. I know there's one that's you play as a police officer. That's obviously you're not a bad guy. You're just like, well, I work for the anti-zombie shit, for the chip and crap like that. And there's one other thing which I can't remember for the life of me. So I said I've not done the DLC for years, but like I said, it interlinks into why, which gives you understanding for the game, which gives it more life and more dicky do. So yeah, that was it as well, because carry on for the story. Like I said, Nick meets his friend that he's not met since the orphanage, and obviously they're all numbers, which, spoiler alert, they're all from an orphanage, which they're orphans from Dead Rising 1, where Carlito has the plan where he has every kid is an infected kid with the zombie virus, and there's one kid that's immune. And obviously Carly got killed, but like I said, there's an orphanage. There's a lot of lore. Like I said, in Dead Rising 1, in the overtime mode, when Isabella talks about it, you hear that obviously there's this, it's 2006. It is, I think the game sets 2006, 2007. I can't remember what I know it's 10 and 15 years later, the Dead Rising 3, but obviously Nick's an adult. They're all adults now. I mean, they're young adults, I think, like, I can't remember the age. I'm probably 20 years old or some shit. But the kid's in an orphanage, and Nick's the survivor. He's the immune one, which is this, Life of Brian, Monty Python. I'm not the sire, I'm Brian, but he's Nick, which you didn't know. So, and obviously Chuck Green, his daughter's in it as well, which I'm not going to tell you who it is unless you watch the series. But yeah, that's like, oh my god, what the fuck. And also you got a few asshole characters which I'm like, oh my god. And obviously I think some characters are parodied, some psychopaths are parodied to the stereotypical. Like the one that made me throw up most was the fat woman in the all you can eat buffet. That, oh my god, that was disgusting. Yeah, I mean, take her out easy because I had all your companions to take him out, which is pretty good. But yeah, that was gross. Ugh. So yeah, like I said, it's, if you new or you want to discover carrying Dead Rising 3, give it a go. And look, I said I'm gonna do the stories for this thing, but then I'm gonna be probably mess around a bit and play free on my own, in my own pace again, because there's lots of stuff I don't know I want to explore properly, and then obviously move on to the Dead Rising 4, which I had fun playing that game. I put it off purely because I'm like, have they ruined my boy and killed it? And it's not as bad. It could be a lot worse, but I hope they actually do make a new Dead Rising. And I know there's a cancelled one, the Dead Rising 5 they cancelled, but I don't know if there's talks of a potential Dead Rising 5. I don't know, because I know the studio shut. Some stuff, it wasn't the studio's fault. It was the assholes at I can't remember if it was the Capcom or some shit who overruled them. Basically, they U-turned a lot of shit and fucked around a lot. So yeah, the developers, it's out of their hands basically. They tried, bless them, with that lack of time they had. So yeah, Dead Rising 4 is another story, another review on that bollocks. So but yeah, zombies, oof. They are more terrifying in 3 as well. Like I said, you've got some super bosses. Like I've said, you've got your high school footballer things. You've got dead coppers, and obviously you got your dead army troops, which and obviously then you got the army to fight as well. And obviously you got your bikers and some other shit to fight. But you know, it's good. It's a good story. And I'm gonna stop rambling on about the same shit now because I'm like, ugh, you know. So yeah, it's good. It's a good game. It has some flaws. Some bits a bit stupid, but overall it's a very, very good game, and it's my favourite Dead Rising out of the lot. And that's a lot me saying, kind of. I love 1. I love Off the Record. I don't mind 2. I hate 2's like system. Same with Off the Record. I played 4. I've done the DLCs. 3 is my favourite. So I can do that if you want, or if you disagree, just let me know. So, but yeah, until next time. Don't affect people with the zombie plague.